Have you ever had a cop lean into your window, smile at you, and say, "I just need to take a quick look, it'll only take a second"? That casual little sentence has put thousands of innocent people in handcuffs, and most of them had absolutely nothing to hide. The moment you say okay to that quick look, you have just handed over every single legal protection you have, and you cannot take it back. Hit subscribe right now because what I'm about to show you could be the most important thing you watch all year. Cops are trained specifically to make that request sound harmless and routine, and I'm going to give you the exact words that shut it down legally and safely every single time. Here's what we're covering today. The specific phrase that stops a consent search cold, the body language trap cops use before they even ask the question, the biggest mistake drivers make in the first 30 seconds of a stop, and a real traffic stop, a walkthrough showing you exactly how this plays out, word for word. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the same pattern shows up every single time. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let's start with why this is so dangerous in the first place. Picture a normal Tuesday. You're driving home. You get pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer runs your license and registration. Everything comes back clean. And then right as he's about to hand your stuff back, he pauses. He leans on your doorframe, gets casual, lowers his voice, and says something like, "Hey, you don't have anything in the car I should know about, right? Mind if I just take a quick look real fast?" Most people freeze. Their brain says they have nothing to hide. Their mouth says, "Sure, go ahead." And in that exact moment, the entire stop changes. What was a taillight fix ticket just became a full vehicle search. And here's the reality. Cops are legally allowed to use that exact tactic. They are trained in police academies to make consent requests sound casual, non-threatening, and completely normal. The courts have said they can even lie to you during a stop. They can tell you it'll only take a second. They can imply they'll be less hard on you if you cooperate. None of that is illegal for them to do. But here's what most people have no idea about. You have the absolute legal right to say no, and saying no does not give them probable cause. Your refusal alone cannot be used against you. The problem is, nobody teaches you what to say. So let me show you exactly how to handle it. Tactic number 1 is the consent denial. This is the foundation. Everything starts here. When a cop asks to search your car, most drivers either say yes outright or they hesitate. That hesitation is exactly what officers are trained to wait for. Bad way. The officer asks, "Mind if I take a quick look?" The driver says, I don't have anything, so sure. Then the officer has legal consent, searches the entire car, finds something small. The driver forgot was even in there, and the driver gets arrested. Good way. The officer asks the same question. The smart driver stays calm, looks the officer in the eye, and says exactly this. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Word for word. Memorize that line right now. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." That's it. 7 words. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to say anything else. Here's why it works. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, but the Supreme Court has ruled that if you voluntarily give consent, that protection disappears completely. So the second you say okay or sure or go ahead, the Fourth Amendment basically steps aside. When you say those 7 words, you are legally invoking your constitutional right. The officer now has to either get a warrant, establish probable cause, or let you go. They cannot search just because they want to. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings going back decades. The case is Schneckloth versus Bustamante from 1973. In plain English, the court said that a consent search is valid, but only if consent was actually given. No consent means no valid search. That ruling is still the law today. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court. When a client said those 7 words and the officer searched anyway, those cases get thrown out. Evidence gets suppressed, charges get dropped. Those 7 words are that powerful. Have you ever been asked this during a traffic stop? Drop a comment below and tell me what you said. I read every single one. Tactic number 2 is the detention question. This one is for when the stop starts dragging out after everything has already been handled. The officer has your license, your registration, your insurance. He's run your plates. Everything is clean. But instead of handing your stuff back and letting you leave, he starts asking questions. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed? Do you have anything in the car? How long have you been on the road? Here's the reality. At the moment he has your documents and nothing has come back flagged, the lawful traffic stop may already be over. The Supreme Court ruled in Rodriguez versus United States in 2015 that officers cannot extend a traffic stop beyond the time needed to handle the reason for the stop. In plain English, if the stop was for a broken taillight and everything checks out, they can't just keep you there asking questions, hoping to stumble onto something. Bad way. The driver sits there answering every question politely. Where are you going? Home. Where are you coming from? My buddy's house. Got anything in the car? No, sir. That answer gives the officer more time and more information, and it keeps you there longer than you legally have to be. Good way. Once you've handed over your documents and the stop has reached its natural endpoint, you look at the officer and say this: "Am I being detained or am I free to go?" Those exact 9 words. Am I being detained or am I free to go? That question legally forces the officer to make a decision. Either they have a specific articulable reason to keep you there, which means they're detaining you, or they don't, which means you are legally free to leave. Former police officers have confirmed this works. There are hundreds of body cam videos where a driver asks that exact question. The officer pauses and then says, "Have a good night." The stop ends. The driver leaves. No search, no arrest, no drama. Watch what happens when you ask that question confidently and calmly. The entire dynamic of the stop shifts. You stop being a potential suspect and you start being a person who knows their rights. Most officers respect that. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection when a stop starts stretching past its legal limit. The backing case is Illinois versus Caballes from 2005, combined with Rodriguez. The court laid out that every second of a stop beyond its lawful purpose requires independent justification. No justification means you go free. This is 100% legal. You are not being rude. You are not resisting. You are asking a direct legal question that you have every right to ask. Most people already clicked away from this video. If you're still here, you're already in the top 10% of people who actually know how to protect themselves. Show me you're serious. Drop a comment right now saying "still watching," and I will personally reply to as many as I can. This next part is where it gets really important. Tactic number 3 is the silence shield. This one is the one people mess up the most because it feels unnatural. When a cop is questioning you, your brain wants to fill every single silence. You want to explain yourself. You want to seem cooperative. You want to talk your way out of it. That instinct will destroy you every single time. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. Anything you say during a traffic stop can be used against you in court. That Miranda warning you've heard 1,000 times? It's real. Cops are not required to read it to you during a routine traffic stop, but the principle still applies. Everything you say is on that body cam, forever. Bad way. The officer asks, "Do you know how fast you were going?" The driver says, "I think I was going maybe 70, 75. I was trying to get home before it got dark. I had a late shift and I was a little tired. I know I probably shouldn't have been driving so fast, but that driver just admitted to speeding, admitted to possibly being too tired to drive, and gave the officer 3 different things to work with." Good way. The officer asks the same question. The smart driver says this: "Officer, I am going to remain silent. Full stop. Nothing else. Officer, I'm going to remain silent." Legal experts agree this is one of the clearest and most legally protected things you can say. The Fifth Amendment gives you the absolute right to not incriminate yourself. After Burgos versus Tompkins in 2010, the Supreme Court ruled that you need to explicitly invoke your right to silence. Just being quiet is not enough anymore. You have to say it out loud. So say it out loud. Listen closely because this is critical. You're not being difficult. You're not giving the officer a reason to escalate. You are invoking a constitutional right that the Supreme Court has specifically said you have. This is 100% legal. Defense attorneys use this exact strategy. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the drivers who state this clearly and calmly almost always walk away with less trouble than the ones who talk too much. Watch what happens when you say those words clearly. The officer's whole approach changes. They can't use your own words to build a case because there are no words to use. The silence shield is your legal armor, and most people never even know it exists. Tactic number 4 is the documentation move. This one happens after the stop, not during it. Most drivers just drive away relieved when a stop ends. That is a missed opportunity. Right after any significant police encounter, you want to document everything while it's fresh. Pull over somewhere safe nearby, grab your phone and voice memo or type out exactly what happened, the officer's name or badge number if you saw it, the exact time and location, every question they asked, everything you said, everything they did. Here's why this matters. If there is ever a complaint, a lawsuit, or a court case related to that stop, your contemporaneous notes carry enormous weight. They show you took it seriously. They fill in details that body cam footage might not capture. And they protect you if the officer files an inaccurate report. Former police officers have confirmed that officers know when someone is documenting carefully and it changes how they proceed. Coming up next week, I'm dropping the exact script for what to say when cops claim they smell marijuana in your car. Subscribe right now because that video gets people arrested literally every single day. Once you know the 3 sentences that legally challenge that claim, you will never be caught off guard again. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Now let me walk you through a complete real traffic stop scenario using everything you just learned so you can see exactly how it flows. You're driving on a Thursday night, blue lights come on behind you, you pull over safely, roll down your window, turn on your interior light, and put both hands on the steering wheel. The officer approaches and asks for documents. You hand everything over politely and you say nothing extra. No explanations, No small talk. The officer walks back to his car. A few minutes pass. He comes back, hands your documents through the window. He says everything looks good, but then asks if he can take a real quick look in the car. Wrong way. The driver says, No, I don't have anything. Sure, go ahead. Full consent given. The search begins. Right way. You look at the officer calmly and you say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Nothing more. The officer might say, Well, it'll only take a second. You say again calmly, I do not consent to any searches. Now the officer has a choice. He can go get a warrant, establish probable cause, or let you go. If he keeps pushing without either of those things, you say clearly, Am I being detained or am I free to go? If he says you're being detained, you say, Officer, I'm going to remain silent, and you wait for your attorney. The difference between those two drivers is enormous. One is in handcuffs on a misunderstanding. One is home in 20 minutes. Let's lock this in with a quick recap. Number 1, say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Number 2, ask, Am I being detained? Number 3, say, Officer, I'm going to remain silent. Number 4, document everything immediately after. Hit subscribe right now so you catch next week's marijuana smell video. Smash the like button and drop a comment. Tell me which one of these tactics you're going to memorize first. Stay smart, stay calm, and stay safe out there.